Well, good morning, folks. Welcome back to the channel. I thank you for watching, and I thank all my subscribers. And well, this is kind of a different view of the boat right here, a little bit different perspective. I'm actually standing, and then I'm standing on the deck. Now, this is not bonded down yet. I'm just doing some final trimming, some final fit and finish work on this piece. We'll need to take it back out one last time, flip it over, and then scuff up the resin on the back side, on the bottom side. As you might recall, I put 2 coats of resin on the bottom of this panel for waterproofing. Well, I need to scuff that before I bond it to the ribs and stringers. And so, yeah, this 1/4-inch plywood, I mean, it holds my weight, it supports my weight very well. I had some concerns about that. No problem. So once we get that fiberglass mat down, like I did back here, I don't think we're going to have any issues with a big old boy like me crashing through the floor here. I think it's going to support my weight just fine. Plus, I've got enough support underneath there in the way of ribs and stringers and keel beam. There's plenty of support underneath that piece, so we're going to be just fine. I did need to get in here and do one thing. I need to, and I know the camera's kind of sideways right there, but I need to tie in my stern light, and I've got just a quick disconnect plug right here for that. I need to get that done. And you know, that's the reason I got in here in the first place, was just it's easier to get to with me laying on the deck here, laying on the floor of the boat, rather than trying to reach all the way over and you know, around the top right here. This is just easier for me. So I'm going to get that connected, and then yeah, we're just going to go ahead and get this floor panel back out and get it scuffed. And then once the weather cools down, now we do have about another week, maybe week and a half of that really intense hot weather. So I'm just going to wait for it to cool down. Like I said, I don't want to get out here and have an issue with the epoxy cooking off too fast. So we're going to go ahead and wait for it to cool, but according to the 10-day forecast, it's going to be in about 7 days from now. But in the meantime, I can get out here in the mornings and get the fit and finish work like I explained earlier. So you know, we're going to get that done, and I'm just going to have this piece ready to go in. And you know, once we get some temperatures below 100 degrees, like I said, I'm just going to be ready to get her bonded in place and just have it ready to go. So in the meantime, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get my wiring finished back here, and then just kind of look and see if there's any other little minor detail work that needs to be done and get it taken care of. And then you know, that first sub 100 degree day, we're going to get this done. All right, folks, I will see you in the next segment. Okay, folks, it is now 7 days later, and it has cooled off just a little bit. It's enough to where I can get out here and work on this without having to be concerned about the epoxy firing off too fast. It's about 90 degrees this morning, and so we're going to get out here and we're going to make a run at getting this panel bonded in place right here. And as you can see, we've got it all scuffed up where it's going to make contact with the structure, and of course had to scuff that up with the epoxy. So here in a moment, I'm going to start mixing resin. I've got to wet that down with resin, and then I'll start mixing up my epoxy. Once I get this flipped back over, get it in position right here, I'll turn the camera back on and we'll take it up from there. I'll try to record that, but as you can see, that's a big piece. It's awkward, hard to handle, and so I'll do my best, but you know, I've got to focus on handling that large piece of plywood. All right, I'll be back. Folks, sometimes it just pays to live right. When I let that piece go just then, as you just saw, it fell right into place. All the alignment marks were spot on. Didn't have to do any adjusting, didn't have to do any tapping or adjusting, shifting it from one side or the other. It just fell right in. Okay, so now I've just got to get a lot of weight on this thing so it'll set down flat on that structure. I'll be back. Okay folks, it is in. Just got to wait for that epoxy to set up now. And yeah, that was quite the adventure. And those ice chests, those two ice chests and that Home Depot bucket right there, they are all full of water. Got to get weight down in the center of that panel, because it did want to jump up a little bit. The center of the panel had a little bit of an arch to it, and so just had to throw a bunch of weight in there. Had to get that panel down up against that structure and get it as flat as we could to where it was making contact with the structure. Don't want that arch. So that's it. I'm going to let that dry. Like I said, I'm going to let the epoxy set up. I'll let that dry, and we'll get back to it here, whenever. Probably sometime later tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. All right, we will see you. Good morning, folks. I'm back, and this floor panel now has had a chance to set up. The epoxy has had a chance to set up now for over 24 hours, and that's in. That is solid. And as you may have noticed right there, I've already cut the little filler pieces for the sides. I just have to get those trimmed to final dimensions, get them notched out at the rib locations, and then we'll be ready to install those. Yeah, that'll probably take a couple hours, so I'm not going to record all that. Just a lot of tedious work there, so I will be back when that's done. And here's the tedious part I was talking about. The piece, I got to cut the outboard side of this filler piece on both sides to match the curvature of the outboard side of the boat. This right here is factory straight edge. This is fine. It'll match up to that large piece. But like I said, that's what I was talking about. It's just a lot of tedious cutting and fitting. So when we get this done, I will be back. Well, okay then. One down, one to go. That fits quite nicely. Notched around those ribs. Sits down in there nice and flat. We will work on that one there tomorrow. And we will see you tomorrow. Okay folks, it is the next day. And just like that, I have that filler piece for the left-hand side installed. Actually, I don't have it installed. Let me back up on that. I have that filler piece for the left-hand side fabricated, and next step is to remove both of these pieces, flip them over, coat the bottom side with resin to waterproof them, and then we'll get them installed. All right, folks, I will see you in the next segment. Folks. I just finished slathering the second coat of resin on these filler pieces here, and I'm going to go ahead and let those cure overnight. Of course, we have to let that dry before we can bond those in place. But once they are completely cured, once that resin has set up, I'll be ready to lay those pieces in place and get these gaps filled up. Okay, so with that out of the way, hopefully now that the weather has started to cool off some, not a whole lot, but it's a lot more bearable now than it was when it was 109, 110, 111 degrees. And so, yeah, it has cooled just enough that it's manageable. And like I was saying, now that it has started to cool off just a bit, hopefully I can get out here and start producing and uploading more content to YouTube. Okay folks, that's all I have for tonight. Like I said, I got to wait for that stuff to fire off, and we're going to get out here in the morning and get those set in place. We will see you then. Okay folks, that is it. I'm going to throw some bricks and sledgehammers and shop tools on that side like I've already done over here. Get those pieces weighed down and we will check on them after they have dried, after that epoxy sets up. We will see you later. Okay folks, just like that, we are done. And as you can see, I've got it wedged. I've got weights on it. Anything I can do to press those panels down flat against those tabs that are underneath there and make sure we get a good bond. So that's going to do it for this video. We're going to go ahead and call that a wrap. I do thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. Now, I do want to interrupt myself right there. This is the first video that I have created and edited and uploaded using the Microsoft Clipchamp, the old video editor. It's gone now. I mentioned that a few weeks ago, that Microsoft was going to do some updates to Windows, and of course one of those updates was they took the old video editor away. I mean, it was very basic, it was easy to use, going through a little bit of a learning curve with Clipchamp. We'll get there. So in the meantime folks, I do thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day. Thank you to all my subscribers, and as I always say, in all things to Christ be the glory. We will see you next time.